Hey everyone, my name is Shai. I stream almost every day, by the way, on the link below. I've been a Kuno main for over 7 years now, and I started playing BDO the moment it released in EU and NA. My first and most played character is Kunoichi. I've played a wide range of both Awakening and Succession, and currently that's Awakening. Anyways, for today I'm going to give you guys most primarily a combo guide on how I combo on Kuno and my crucial add-ons that will make these combos work so well, followed by tips, tricks, maybe other things. If you want to skip to a certain part of the video, I will segment the timeline for you guys so you can go to whatever part you please. So I'm gonna cover almost everything that I can possibly talk about, from A to B to C, all in order. So I'm going to cover how to move protected, how to catch, and how to combo from those catches, with many other things after that. Alright, let's go to the add-ons now. Okay, so here are my add-ons. I'm an evasion Kuno player, so some add-ons will be there to buff my evasion or debuff the enemies' accuracy, to make my stage rating better and to survive getting comboed sometimes. The original add-ons I used were those from the Kuno Discord, and I have changed them up a lot to fit my play and combo style. Here I'll show you guys on screen what the original add-ons look like on the right, but assuming your combo always starts out the same, I feel like some add-ons like the DP reduction from Wheel of Red didn't make much sense to me. So, back to my add-ons now. Sadly, Kuno doesn't have anything like Megu, where you can debuff your target's evasion by 9% and buff your own accuracy by 9%. And that's why it's definitely important to have a +4 accuracy buff and -4% evasion debuff on one of your pre-buffing skills, like you can see here but with my add-ons. Now for my first skill add-ons here, Flash Slash and Tenon Cutter are used mostly for defense, making myself tankier and debuffing my opponent, improving my SH rating as I said before. The next 4 skill add-ons all have to do with adding as much damage as possible in my very specific combo that I will show you guys later, and I will explain why they are what they are. For now, all I can say is that 3 of those skill add-ons are crucial, and why it makes my combo one of the best combos for Awakening Kunoichi against highly geared players that are usually outgearing me, like around the 395 DP. The first skill where I base my whole combo off of is Chain Crash. All that matters about this skill is that it gives us a 5% crit hit damage increase in the base skill. On top of it, it's a tier 3 add-on, giving us another 30% crit hit rate and a 5% down attack increase, which I changed recently by the way from being a 5% crit hit damage, but I feel like this is a better change. But it's really up to you if you want to have the crit hit rate or the down attack here or there. Flow Rat and Flow Indignation, which as you can see are both down smashes and flow after the spin spree perfectly by just holding RB for 2 seconds. This gives us the chance to down smash our target for 45%. A total of not 1 but even 2 times, which even if you don't down smash them by the way, it's fine. But if you do, it adds a lot more damage to your target before they can actually get up again, and half the reason why I love this combo so much. The other of course being Chain Crash with all that extra damage that we get from it. And the whole reason why this combo is actually better than your average basic or even advanced combo. Now, for protected movement, there isn't really a specific order to use these skills, so technically you can just use these skills in any order you like. These skills are Half Moon Slash, Halo, Lunar Dash, Moonstorm, Dance Macabre, the Core Delighted Blast, Tendon Cutter, Flash Slash, sometimes Block Jump into left or right, Smoke Screen into Ninjutsu Concealment, and the Rabams like Shift Z, Shift X, or the third one that doesn't have a keybind. Another skill that you definitely need is Ghost Step, of course. Shift with directional keys. It's a skill you need to use basically between every protected skill that I just mentioned. Just know it's a bit of a fake iframe sometimes, so don't rely too much on it. Another skill which isn't safe, so it shouldn't be in here, but it's Shadow Stomp. I recommend using a mouse move, but I will go into that further later on into the video. So I'm gonna show you in this clip what the protected movement of a Kuno looks like. As you saw here, it's mostly safe movement except for like 1 second where I tried to grab the enemy, although I wasn't even really close, but sometimes a risk must be taken if you want to get a grab on your enemy. Which gets us to our next subject, catches. Now about catches. 80% of the time, when I catch my opponent, it's with block jump into a grab, or just a quick lunar dash and ghost step into a grab, usually. But about block jump, if your opponent is smart and reacts fast, he can generally iframe out of it, or he can sit protected in some kind of AoE CC with super armor, like smokescreen for example, and catch you out of your block jump, dooming you. Especially when your opponent iframes, your block jump won't have a target, and you'll just land back at the same spot with your camera away and you're back towards your opponent for a brief moment. Therefore, use at your own risk, as block jump can be weird at times. I'll show you here an example or two. So as you just saw in that clip, my block jump didn't position me exactly behind my target, or at least not my camera, and usually when I grab someone, I press spacebar for the double grab jump, you know. But yeah, that completely doomed me. So it can be buggy at times. Just be warned, you know. Now, I'm gonna give you guys an example of safe, risky, and unsafe catches. Now for safe catches, you can use Core Delighted Blast. It's one of my favorite skills. It has a bad visibility to your opponent, so even if you miss it, sometimes they unknowingly run into it and get knocked down, as shown in this clip here. Yeah, even I didn't really see that coming. That's how strong this skill can be. So, use it to your advantage. A good tip I could give for Delighted Blast is just predict where your enemy is gonna go. Usually it's not gonna stay dead center. He's always gonna go move left or right. So try to predict his usual patterns. Flash Slash is another great skill, though you sit still for 2 seconds in NSA, and most people can get a grab if you're sitting still for too long. But if people are stuck in a frontal guard, you can easily teleport behind them with it and get a stiff that way. And here I'll show you guys an example of that. Just like Delighted Blast, it can feel a little cheesy sometimes. It feels good. And the last skill that is classified as safe would be Smokescreen. It's kinda short, but it's an AoE CC. Smokescreen is perfect against other Kunos and ninjas that use block jump grab into you. As you can see here, he tries to grab me with a block jump, but I stun him when he comes down from block jump. What I recommend doing is iframing first with Ghost Step and then do Smokescreen in case the opponent chooses to use his block jump, later on, like in here. What you can also do is Smokescreen then iframe out with Ghost Step in case you know he's going to go with a block jump earlier on. In the next two examples here, you'll see me do Smokescreen and still, thanks to desync, get CC'd. So just an FYI, make sure you do it earlier rather than on time or late. It's safer that way. For the risky CCs, we got block jump, usually comboed into grab. If grab is on cooldown and your enemy is sitting in frontal guard, you can still use your block jump for a quick stiff behind them. Another way I like to use block jump is by using the A or D keys, going invisible, and then getting a ghost step behind the enemy and grabbing them. Another way of catching your opponent would be Dance Macabre into a grab, but again, the grab itself is unprotected and it can get you CC'd. You should also know that by the time Dance Macabre has landed, most of the time your opponent has already dashed away. The next risky catch would be Mousemoving Shadow Stomp. Now I'll get more into that with the tips and tricks, and for the one after that we have the Magnus skill Hidden Dagger Jutsu. Actually it's not that safe, because you have a very short frontal guard window, but the only reason it's kinda safe is because you can use it from range. Now for the unsafe catches we have Wheel of Red, Lunatic Discus, which has a bit of range and it's quick, Flow Chakram Rise, which I like to use from HOTBAR, I'll tell you later why, and Soft Spree of Sonan, which is down LMB, and I pressed that a lot by mistake, so I like to use that from the HOTBAR as well, if that ever becomes necessary. Now, you could add Core Wheel of Red instead of Core Delighted Blast. You would lose your SA on Delighted Blast for a frontal guard on Wheel of Red. It's not that bad, but I don't recommend using it over Delighted Blast score. Alright, let us move on to the combos. First of all, before I show you guys my own made combo, I want to show you guys the normal generic Awakening Kuno combo. After opening up with a grab, you want to do Half Moon Slash for the 10% attack speed buff, into Halo, into Moonstorm for a minus DP debuff, then into Delighted Blast for the re-CC knockdown, Wheel of Red, which does extra increased air attack, Flow Indignation, finishing up with Lethal Spin Spree and then Shackled Target Rabam for the escape. This combo is honestly fine for beginners and I would even recommend it, but the first issue is that while you're spinning and your target is still alive, he's going to be grabbing you, if he has one, and that's not good. Sure, you can exit sooner, but usually people greet the spin because they see the target is almost dead and they are protected with SA. Common mistake. And to be fair, Spin Spree's damage is also just too low to really do any good lethal finishing damage, so it's better to end it soon with the RMB flow. My next issue is Halo. Halo is nice, however right now, since the January rework, all Halo does is give you an evasion buff and some quick damage with a frontal guard. You obviously don't need the evasion nor a frontal guard when your only target is on the floor, leaving us with a quick and small amount of damage, benefiting us no further than that. It's easy to flow in and out of though, which is the best part about this skill for comboing, but that's about it. Anyway, there are more things I could say about this combo that aren't great, but overall, I recommend this combo for Awakening Kuno beginners as it's fairly simple and easy to learn. But once you're ready for more advanced stuff, my upcoming self-taught combo will teach you how to maximize your damage against both high DR and high evasion targets. So there are two different variants to my combo, one with a stiff opener like block jump and one without, where you just grab your opponent without any CC before that. Here is the long variant without block jump. So after our grab opener, we go into Half Moon Slash again for a 10% attack speed. Then we buff up our damage with a Chain Crash modifier. As the opponent is getting up, we knock him back with Lunatic Discus, followed by a Moonstorm for debuffs. As you finish the animation, I hold SF for Delighted Blast to knock down our target again for the max amount of CC duration. Here we start doing our damage by spinning shortly and immediately holding RMB to proc both Flow Red and Flow Indignation. To finish off our target, I hold Shift RMB for Wheel of Red with maybe a Halo after if necessary, and I escape with Shackle Target or Tendon Cutter before I get grabbed. If you manage to down smash your target, you can do any filler damage you see fit. Usually for me, I can press spacebar for a quick Halo like I said, or maybe into a Dance Macabre. It's up to you what your filler is, but make sure you escape in time and don't greed. Now for the short combo, The short variant of this skill starts usually with a block jump to get to my target quickly, usually stiffening them in the combo, meaning I can't use Lunatic Discus anymore for a knockback CC in the middle of it. So instead, after the grab, we do the usual pre-buffing with half moon slash into chain crash, but after that, you want to instantly knock down your target with a delighted blast before he gets up, and follow up with Moonstorm for a debuff. Then it's the same again. You follow up with Spin Spree, both flows, and Wheel of Red, then escape unless you get more time to do filler damage. The 3 combos I just showed you are my bread and butter combos. Of course, you won't always catch with a grab first. Sometimes it might be through a Shadow Stomp, Flash Slash, or Delighted Blast, and then they're on cooldown. Honestly, for that, I'm not the best at explaining or teaching, but generally, I follow up with impromptu re-CCs or whatever comes to mind first, followed by a generic combo. This won't kill tanky people, but at least you'll have them sitting low and panicked. Don't change your playstyle too much when they're low and they're running, because sometimes when you're chasing someone that's kiting, the person that's kiting has the upper hand. Now, there are more combos you could do, like from going into a Flash Slash into a Shadow Stomp, for example, and then doing something with a Fatal Blow. However, those are not my cup of teas. I'd way prefer to stay in Awakening if I can. And generally, because you're also in Awakening, you tend to do more damage than in pre-Awakening. If you want to do more damage in pre-Awakening, then I suggest you go play Succession. Which, by the way, I will eventually make a guide for as well. Now, for the people that are really interested, even though I don't recommend doing it, here's 2 combos if you like to use them from pre-Awakening. Just so you know, all of the combos that you might want to know about are on the Discord. They're generally not the best, but they're always a good starting point. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Now, before I almost forget, there's one more combo to cover. 1vx. In this clip, you will notice that I am 1v2 and very low HP. What's basically going to happen is I CC the first guy and then I do half moon slash and position myself with the other guy in front of me. Then I use chain crash to use as a frontal guard because I'm very low HP and about to die. There I just continue the combo like usual, like the short version combo, but without shift RMB because obviously that part of it is unprotected. So you basically do the full short combo but without shift RMB, and the chain crash is completely optional depending on the situation, of course. In here it was very, very good. Let's look at that again. So here you'll notice I position myself with the second enemy in front of myself and then chain crash for the frontal guard as I'm very low HP. For the rest of the combo, I stay fully protected and I re-CC the second guy and I get a juicy double kill as a third guy comes in trying to kill me and I make my escape. Alright, so for the people that don't know too much about pre-awakening when you're using awakening, I'm going to tell you guys what skills to lock or what skills to, which ones you can and can't use. Absolute Shadow Slash, first one, you want to lock this. So this way, if you're in pre-awakening and you want to do a quick awakening swap, you can do this. Instead, it switches from pre-awakening to awakening with half moon slash and you get plus 10% attack speed instead of 5. It's great. Then Ghost Grid is good for cancels, Crescent Slash, and all of this, honestly, I wouldn't be really using generally. All of it is unprotected as well, really. Even this, it says forward guard, but trust me, you're not really protected. So yeah, unless you're gonna do pre-awakening combos, I wouldn't bother with all of this. Shadow Stomp is good for ranged catch, where you use your mouse move to be safest as possible. I'm gonna explain this later in tips and tricks. So if you want to know about it now, you can mouse over there. This you probably want to lock, up to you. I have it locked because I keep using this by accident when I'm in pre-awakening, and I think I'm in awakening trying to use Dance Macabre. It's very annoying, so I locked it. Flash Slash, one of your most important skills, together with Tendon Cutter. I use this constantly. Really good. Shackles, never use this, please. At least not the absolute version, you know. No comments, super bad. Black Moonlight, more something for comboing, otherwise I wouldn't bother with it. Shadow Explosion, trash. It says SA, but it's only before you do the animation. It's like the wind up to it. Don't use this, please. Better lock it. Absolute Tendon Cutter, again, one of your most important skills. Use this anytime you can. Anytime it's off cooldown and you think it's a good time to use it, use it. One of your best skills to use, honestly. Hidden Dagger Jutsu, sorry, is a really good skill. Like I said before, you can catch people off guard by having range all of a sudden that also CCs people. And even if they're in SA, you can teleport behind them with it and get a grab. So use this, but use it carefully. It can be risky to use, especially against ranged people or up close. The frontal guard doesn't really exist on this, and the SA is only if you teleport. There's nothing between that. This you can ignore, really. Pretend like this doesn't exist. This you want to lock 100%. If you don't know about it yet, please just lock it. Ghost Step. All of this is just standard stuff that you can use in Awakening as well. Of course, you want to use these two skills here. Of course, you want to use Brace and your Grab, Smokescreen Ninjutsu. You use these from HOTBAR. I use this from HOTBAR when I'm in Awakening. It's just very important. Kunai block, of course, you want to have a block. I have RMB, the Kunoichi locked. Technically, for the average player, I wouldn't recommend doing this, but this is more a personal thing because I don't like the cancel for Shadow Stomp on it, so I decided to lock it. I'd rather cancel with something else like Ghost Step. I usually cancel my charge animation from Shadow Stomp with Ghost Step. It's my favorite way to do it. I don't like Kunoichi. It can be a bit weird sometimes how it doesn't go off. So yeah, yeah. By the way, for block jump, I have the Awakening version on. Some people prefer to have this locked so they can transition to pre-awakening more easily. But again, I hate going on pre-awakening when I'm using an Awakening class. It's just a personal preference here. But if you're good with switching between Awakening and pre-awakening, then yeah, you can probably lock that, and you can have a lot more tools available to you. Someone like Strobe Walker, for example, he prefers having it locked, and I definitely recommend watching him, by the way, because he's a really good player and you can learn a lot from him. And yeah, this is just standard stuff. Now for a quick run through Awakening, everything here is fine. I would lock Saspri, actually. I use this too much by accident and I get CC'd in it. I don't like it. But it's a really good re-CC if you happen to catch someone and you need it quick, like everything else is on cooldown, so you can use this instead. Same with Chakram Rice. If everything else is on cooldown, I use this to CC people. Otherwise, I have it just locked, right? And I just have it on my hotbar to use. I'll show you guys in the tips and tricks video about how I use this. Then Half Moon Slash. Again, you constantly want to apply the attack speed, but especially pre-buffing with it. If you're comboing the Light of Blast, I spam that. Little Spin Spree can be good for SA trading because it gives you a nice heal together with the Flow of Rad to linger SA a little bit. Moonstorm, all of it you want to use. All of it is good. Yeah. Lunatic Discus, also happen to use this by accident from time to time. Not too much, but I'm considering locking this skill and using it from hotbar just so I don't mess it up anymore. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep it unlocked for now. And then yeah, you want to have core Delighted Blast, of course. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of animation cancels. For the first skill, we have Shadow Stomp. Usually it starts out like this, right? The whole charge up animation. I think everyone knows this. A lot of people will already also know all the cancels for it, but I'm gonna tell you guys anyways. So the first one would be R&B into down S, SE or down E. It's pretty straightforward. The next one would be down F into down E, or you can do, which is my favorite, just ghost step into this. It's pretty generic, but very important, and can definitely be a game changer. For pre-awakening, not really important, but if you happen to be in pre-awakening and you need to do a quick CC, I like to do down L and B into shift R and B. So it's crescent slash into foxclaw. I like to do that one. There's a couple other ones you can do, but I'm just gonna leave it there because I don't think pre-awakening skills are too important here. Besides Shadow Stomp. I think that's the most important one, really. All right, there is one more, which is Moonstorm. Actually, there's no cancel for it. There used to be because it was a longer animation, but they removed that. Now it's just a quick little dash animation with it. So that's good. Other than that, just remember in general, it's R&B or floor sweeping or ghost step that you can use for animation cancels. Alright, at last, now that we have the essential combos and all that other stuff out of the way, let's get to the tips and tricks. Let's start with my favorite one, which is Delighted Blast. Oftentimes I do a Delighted Blast just when I get grabbed. Guess what? As they come out of the grab animation, they get CC'd by Delighted Blast, and I get up before them and I CC them. It's great, and here's an example. See, that's what I mean. They grabbed me? Yeah, you could say I was a little excited even. Great example though. The next one is also fairly important. Grabbing, and then you get immune, right? Your grab gets resisted. I press spacebar, and what happens then? I use smoke screen by pressing spacebar automatically, which is a bit of a reaction why I press spacebar to double jump in the grab animation, but it's also great to use that smoke screen. It's really great because even though he resisted the grab, he still got stunned by my smoke screen. And here's that example. So yeah, I think that can be really life-saving here. It puts you in SA immediately, and it potentially also stuns the enemy. There's Q block as well. You can ghost step in your Q block so you don't leave as many gaps open. But if you're in doubt, use your S block. Use S block always between skills if you're not sure what to do next, so you never have a gap open in front of you. Stealth. Stealth is a hot topic here. So for stealth, don't be afraid to use it. You're not bad for using it. It's one of your main features as a stealth assassin class. It's your thing. Other classes have something in place of that. So use your own thing and they use their own thing. It's all fair. Now more of a note is stamina. Stamina on Awakening is amazing. You barely ever run out unless you're really spamming movement skills. For me, for example, I run out maybe a little after like chasing an archer for a while, but even then I'm able to manage it and come back to it, or I can just go in stealth real quick and wait out my stamina to get it all back. On Succession Kuno, however, I use 3 skills and I'm out and I'm dead. That's a big difference. So yeah, the stamina on Awakening is amazing compared to that. Then there's the note from Flash Slash that I told you guys before for catches, but always try to use it behind the enemy. You never know if the enemy is using a frontal guard and you just happen to catch them. Always go for a dash with your Flash Slash behind the enemy. It's the best tip I can give you there. Now for Delighted Blast, I like to use that skill a lot. I like to use it in front of me, or I predict where the enemy is gonna go. So if the enemy is constantly rotating around me to my left, then I use it more to my left. So it might like trip on it, you know? But if you're not sure and you just do it in front of you, use it in front of you and then also dash into it. By the time it explodes, you're in the middle of it, and if your enemy happens to be close, you can get a knockdown from it even though you're not like only sitting in an SA skill like Spin Spree that doesn't have a CC. You can get him from something you casted beforehand. It's kind of like a trap that I use a lot. Now let's talk about Mousemoving. Shadow Stomp specifically. We can mouse move Shadow Stomp, clicking right behind us before the stomp takes off, launching us backwards away from the target safely, however, and the actual CC, like the little shadow, will still be going in a straight line to where we were originally looking. That's huge. Why? Stomp is not an SA. It's completely unprotected, and the amount I get CC'd in the middle of the dash animation is too damn high. Mousemoving brings our character away from danger while still sending out our shadow to potentially catch and or hurt our opponent. Another mouse move skill, like I said way before, is Dance Macabre. You can use it here to go a little bit more sideways towards your target, or like in the next clip, you can use it to go backwards. A good tip I have to be more consistent at successfully mouse moving Shadow Stomp is by holding SE before you try to mouse move, at least for like half a second. Before I try to be too fast and I would do SE and try to mouse move at the same time, but that would constantly put me into a lunar dash backwards, and that was really frustrating. I couldn't get why until I slowed it down and it then consistently started working properly. So my tip here is don't try to be too fast, SE first and then mouse move, not at the same time. So for bout move skills, but especially for Shadow Stomp, it's hard to muscle memory it at first, but I promise you guys, if you practice it enough, this will be second nature to you and you will mouse move constantly without even thinking about it. It will be autonomous with muscle memory. If you're in Awakening form and you're doing the Jump of Shame by accident, you can press R&B to do a quick side slash to get you to the ground faster and potentially even CC your enemy, like in this example. You can do that also with LMB but without CCing, or you can be in pre-awakening and do LMB or R&B. Another quick tip for more beginner BDO players is enabling stacked HP. It can show you how tanky or how geared your enemies are that you are going to be facing and tells you how much more HP they have left instead of just having one general bar with a percentage. One color of HP is basically 1000 HP. Times 1 means 1000 HP as well. Alright, here's a bit of a fix, a solution that I have for an issue with me lunar dashing every time I'm going for a grab. Why is this happening? It's because you press forward and E, right? I want to get closer to my target and E for the grab. That is a combination to do lunar dash without collision, so you go right through your enemy. For me, my solution for that was by basically using it before I know I'm gonna go for a grab. It gives you 10 AP, so actually that's really great as a pre-buffer, you know, without wasting time on your combos. So try to always spam your forward R&B or E skill, your lunar dash basically, before you're gonna go for a grab, and you won't have that issue. I know it might be a bit weird, but I got used to it really fast actually. And yeah, I don't have that issue anymore. So try to do that if it's an issue for you. Next tip is how I break frontal guards or Q blocks from people. It's a fairly simple one, so look closely. At this point, the enemy's frontal guard broke. This was Dracania with the DP buff in his Q block and 404 DP, by the way. All you need to do for this is do a Delighted Blast into Moonstorm into Lethal Spin Spree with a Flow Rat. After that, I like to immediately go with Shift R&B, which is the Wheel of Rat, to float them. Usually, you know, their frontal guard or Q block is already broken, and then you CC them immediately with it. It's unprotected. Now, this doesn't work as well against classes like Valkyrie and Succession Nova, as they're so tanky. You probably won't even do half of their frontal guard. Now let's talk about my skill cooldown slots. You've probably noticed, like, what is that? What is it? It's actually fairly logically done. So for my first and most important skills, we have block jump and grab. those are always on the top left because they're my most important skills. If I'm playing other classes, it's usually a grab and something with a dash iframe that I have sitting there. They're always my most important skills where I look at the most. Then we have, for example, above the BSR bar, we have Lethal Spin Spree and Wheel of Rat. That's actually my Shift LMB skill that's on the left and my Shift RMB that's on the right. That way I know my left mouse button is on the left skill, my Shift right mouse button is on the right side. That's how I keep them like together. Even if I'm playing a class I don't know that well yet, if I look at that spot, I know immediately, oh, those skills, that's Shift LMB and Shift RMB. Okay, those are off cooldown, I can use those. If we look at the skills above that, that's forward RMB and downwards RMB. I have Lunar Dash on top, which is my forward RMB, that's Macabre, is my down RMB, so I have that under that, but they're both mobility skills, they're both my skills to go forward. That's why I have them at the most like top of my skill cooldown slots. That's very easy for me to remember. Oh, which skills can I use now to move forward, to go forward? Oh, these two, perfect. And they're low cooldown, which just makes it nice. Then after that, we have Half Moon Slash and Halo that are bottom mid. They are very important for me and I use them all the time as well. And it's very important for me that I don't use them by accident when they're on cooldown, right? I want to use them off cooldown. So that's why I have them in the middle, kind of on top of my feet when I'm playing Kuno. So I can always look there and be like, oh, okay, I can use those skills now, because those are the skills I use a lot to safely rotate between SA, frontal guard, evasion buffs and all that. Left of that, you have SE and SF. Again, those are two skills where I have to go downwards for all my keybinds pressing S. So I have them on the kind of the bottom of my screen, right? And yeah, that goes for every class that I play. I always have a layout set up like this, so I kind of have an idea in my brain, in my head. When I look at those skills, I know what kind of skills they are or what potential input I can do. Usually I put my E or my F skill inputs in there in that slot. So that's how I always know, okay, I always put the same kind of button presses in the same area. And for example, the top right are my Rabam skills, Shift X and Shift Z. Even though I also have them on my mouse keys in the middle, well, in the bottom right, middle right of the screen though, you can always tell, okay, that's the cooldown on them, they're grouped together, that's how they are, cool. Now, what do I mean with my mouse slots, mouse cooldowns? Well, the skills that you see with Moonstorm and then my three Rabams together, and then to the right of that, you have the Magnus Jutsu skill. Those are actually, that's actually the layout of my mouse buttons on my, I think it's a G502. Yeah, it's a G502X. So I kind of have it set in the layout of what my mouse buttons look like IRL. And that's how I kind of know which button I have to press on with my thumb to correspond the skill that I'm looking at on the screen. Now, if you're looking at the bottom skills with Sona Spree, Chakram Rise, and Smokescreen, it's just, you know, your generic hotbar actually, really. The first two skills I have locked and I want to use them with 1 and 2 on my keyboard. It's that simple. I think that goes for a lot of people like that. And then for my numpad keys on the right bottom, you don't really have to look at that. But that's where I also activated my ultimate from. Doesn't really matter too much though. So yeah, the general tip here is put everything very closely to each other, but still have it be distinguished from each other, so you know it doesn't look like a clusterfuck, right? That's how I have set up my skill cooldown slots, and I advise you guys to do the same, honestly, especially for beginners. It's so good. So yeah, that's that. And the last advice I can give for any player trying to play any class is practice. Practice anywhere, like BA, with anyone. Quick run through of what you need to lock. You need to lock Absolute Shadow Slash. Why? This way you can go from pre-awakening to awakening really easily and getting the Half Moon Slash plus 10% attack speed instead when you're trying to combo after a grab. The next very important one is even more important actually, is ninja evasion. You need this locked. It's griefing you if you don't have it locked. It will grieve you. The next ones are more optional for the sake of not making any mistakes. Rage transfer and absorption. I click these by accident sometimes, so I like to lock this for sure. This one you lock, so you use this one instead, so you get the attack speed where you don't have it with this one. Then flow kickdown is kind of preference. I have these and these locked because I do them by accident as well when I'm in pre-awakening sometimes, and they're useless anyways. It's useless really because it's unprotected. And then in awakening, I like to lock SAS Spree of Sonon because I do that by accident sometimes, often as well. I did this one recently actually. And then Chakram Rise is a good lock. I recommend locking this, especially if you're a new player. I like to hold forward R&B for Lunar Dash, which makes it do a Chakram Rise as well, and that often kills me when I don't intend to do it. So I like to lock it and then put it on my hotbar. Oops. Over here. So these two are on my hotbar, and then I put smoke screen on my hotbar so I can use smoke screen from awakening anytime I want. And this covers almost everything. If you guys want to watch more gameplay of awakening Kunos, I definitely recommend watching a guy called Strobe Walker. I will put a link down into the description for him. And lastly, I stream on twitch.tv/shy_edits. I will put the link in the description. Please guys, come check me out. I will gladly welcome anyone here. I'm all for teaching people and helping. So whether you just want to come say hi or watch the stream, or you have a question, I'll be there to answer. If I'm not, I'll leave my Discord link in the description as well, so you guys can always come and ask something whenever you want, and I'll hopefully be able to answer those. Alright, and this is it. This is the end of the video. I know it was a long guide, and I know it might have been a bit, boring at times, but I hope it helped you guys, for real. I've put hours into making this guide, so if I could even help someone, then to me that's a mission complete. This video guide was mostly meant for me to show off the combo guide section that I have, but I figured I might as well go all the way in and do everything. But whether it helped or not, I hope you guys at least liked the content of the video. And yeah, that's about it. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video or the stream.